Mac, what are we doing?
We are creating a coffee cart.
All right, we're back.
We're back.
And this might just be my favorite episode because I get to talk about what I'm most passionate about, which is coffee equipment. And I get to tell you about all the things that I've been thinking about for this cart.
I'm so excited.
So before we get there are a couple of other things that we need to touch on that will inform our equipment choices. And one of those is our menu.
Yes.
And then one of those is our volume, or how many drinks per hour we're going to be serving. The first thing I want to do is talk about our menu. This is really what I think you should be planning first, because it totally just determines everything else that you need to purchase for the cart, right?
It's the purpose.
Yep.
To serve coffee.
That is. We're going to put this up on the screen and you can follow along here. We're going to have both 12-ounce hot drinks and 16-ounce ice drinks. We're not going to have tons of different sizes. I'll also have some small 3-ounce cups for espresso for all the purists out there. Cappuccino, latte, espresso, right? Just the three basics. And then I am going to bring a air pot full of black coffee. For somebody starting a cart, a great thing to do would be to purchase something like a Technovorm. The CDT Grand in particular is kind of bridging that gap between home and commercial. It brews 60 ounces of coffee on 110 volts. So what you can do before you leave, what we're gonna do is brew about 1 liter of coffee on that guy, dump it into the air pot and bring it along with us. Then we get into specialty drinks. And these are things that have more than just espresso and milk added to them. They are flavored. The first thing is gonna be an espresso tonic with orange. I love that drink because it is so delicious and refreshing in the heat. It's also just really easy to put together. And I can't emphasize this enough, really. The easier you make your menu, the more fun you're going to have. The less that you can rely on your espresso machine, the faster and more efficient your drink service will be. And that's really how I'm thinking about this. A very limited espresso menu, and then a greater focus on things that we can have pre-made that I can pour into a cup, serve in 5 to 10 seconds. I'm gonna bring vanilla syrup and caramel syrups, cold brew. We are gonna brew 7 gallons of cold brew here before we head out using the Alto cold brew coffee maker. And if you're familiar with Toddy products, it's basically a bucket with a filter. You load in up to 7 pounds of coffee and let it brew overnight, and you have a concentrate that will stretch a long ways. So with that cold brew, we're gonna serve it as is, but we're also going to serve nitro, which is really cool. It's what I'm most excited about. Nitro is usually something very difficult to do on a coffee cart. And even in a cafe, it's hard to do because you need a lot of equipment, you need air and faucets. It's quite a thing to keep up with, right? But we're gonna be using an interesting thing.
I know.
And I'm gonna show it to you. You guys stick around to see it. All right. The last thing on my menu is a matcha latte, right? So just matcha powder being added to milk. A very simple drink that's popular. And in terms of milk options, we are gonna go with just oat milk. We've had a lot of discussion around this, and the reason for that is that health department standards are different everywhere you go. I'm not really even gonna get into what the Kentucky Health Department standards are here because they really wouldn't apply to you wherever you are. So before you get into this, look into what type of equipment and other accessories you need to be compliant with those codes, and then kind of form your menu around that too. And that's what we did. There's a lot required to serve milk, so we chose the non-dairy route, and that's just gonna make our lives a whole lot easier, okay?
Works for me because I'm vegan.
Excellent. Now that we have that out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about drinks per hour. Now, I think it's helpful to think about drinks per hour instead of how many people are going to be at the event. Let's say we have an event with 50 people, and all 50 people want to line up and get a drink at the same moment. Let's say they only have 10 minutes to get a drink. That becomes a high volume situation, right? Where you're slammed and making as many drinks as you possibly can, versus something like an event with 400 people over the course of 6 hours, right? they're going to be trickling into the cart. Volume's going to be closer to low or medium. So for this particular event that we're putting on, we're going to have, we think, around 30 to 40 people. And they are going to be kind of hitting us all at once within the same hour. And so I'm considering this to be medium volume. So this cart and this menu is really optimized for that low to medium range where we can get busy, but for the most part, it's going to be fairly relaxed. So now we have our menu out of the way. That is now informing our equipment, and I'm excited to show you some things that I've been working on. All right, so we're going to start with espresso. For this whole project, I really want to maximize the value of everything that we're buying. We're not going ultra premium. We're not going cheap either. We're getting the best value that we can. Our equipment budget is around $6,000, which isn't light, but it's not nearly as much as you could spend. The Luca A53 sits right in that pocket. This is a direct plumb, dual boiler espresso machine with volumetrics. You know, for $2,600, you'd be hard pressed for a coffee cart, I think, to find a machine better than this.
Sounds great.
Next, I want to talk about the grinder. And again, we're not going to purchase more than we need here. The Hey Cafe Buddy is what I consider to be kind of a mid-range, both in price and output capacity. It's not as fast as some grinders out there, but we don't really need that. At $900, 2 to 3 grams a second is a great deal. It really is one of the best value espresso grinders on Prima's site right now too. I've looked a lot at fridges over the last few weeks, and Summit keeps coming up. They make these really nice looking mini fridges that are under 30 inches in height and around 17 or 18 inches wide, which is just perfect for the space. As I mentioned to you a while ago, I think maximizing the space for the fridge is really important. You want to choose all the other equipment first, right? And with what space left you have, I think it's important to use every square inch of it that you can. This fridge is also going to come with a thermometer and a digital readout. That's just something that our health department requires, so we did add that on. Next is the chrome pitcher rinser. This is just a basic economy pitcher rinser that Prima's carried for a very long time. They work well. They're not crazy expensive like some out there. And the last thing, going back to that nitro I was talking about, is the NitroPress DS. Okay, so this thing does not require any air tanks. It does not require a stout faucet. It does not require a keg.
It's perfect for what we're going to need to use.
Yes, it really is. What this does is pulls nitrogen from the air. Somehow it is separating the oxygen from the nitrogen and then charging a whipping siphon for you with that. There's no need to purchase cartridges, and that is excellent for a coffee cart. So my plan is to bring growlers and fill them with the cold brew that we're going to make here. As needed, all I need to do is measure out 16 ounces of coffee, pour it in there, charge it for about 6 seconds, and then dispense it right into a plastic cup, and you got nitro.
Wonderful.
So it's about a 30-second process or so, but that's not bad for a specialty drink.
Not at all.
No, I don't think so either.
And it's going to look really cool as well.
Yeah, it is. So that is it for equipment.
Ryan, I think everything you picked is going to work perfectly for our cart.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for everything we're going to get to serve to people, and I can't wait to see how it all turns out.
Awesome.
So now that we've got all of our aesthetics down, we've got our menu and the equipment we're going to be using down, we need to get into the nitty-gritty with the electrical and plumbing work, which I know nothing about. So we're going to call in our expert, John, to check all that out, see what needs to be done to make sure our coffee cart can run smoothly whenever we're ready to get it started up. So check
Excellent.
us out, episode 3 with John. Thanks for hanging out with us while we build out our coffee cart. If you like this content and want more of it, be sure to check out the Prima Coffee Community, and we'll see you in the next one.